I'm Toby Smith. I'm head of the Solihull Music Hub. The Solihull Music Hub exists to engage people between the age of 5 and 18 in music education, and rather than just a traditional music service which will go into schools and teach, it's about bringing together groups of people who deliver some kind of music education within the Solihull area. So as part of the Wavelength project, one of the roles of the hub is to sit on the steering committee for it and offer advice. This is also a conduit for identifying kids in the area or young people in the area who might benefit from it. But it's very much a two-way process. Projects like Wavelength have been key in our adopting a brand new and quite bold inclusion strategy in general, and it's learning from those such projects like Wavelength, which has given us the confidence to tackle areas that we probably haven't tackled before, and to engage with what we would traditionally call hard to reach or difficult to teach young people. I think now, having seen projects like Wavelength work, that really helps us understand a different way of approaching music education with them rather than the more traditional sense. It's also enabled us to work with some of our other partners. So one of our other partners on the Music Education Hub are the Engage team, who used to run all the youth centres in Solihull, and we've been able to involve them as well by them giving us some space to use for some of the Wavelength projects. I think projects like Wavelength are really important, especially for groups within society who, although in theory can access everything that we do as a music hub, possibly don't have the confidence to do so, or don't feel that they've got the skills. So a project like Wavelength enables them to build up those initial skills, get that sense of achievement, that little bit of confidence, to then come and take part in some of our wider programmes. Music's quite a difficult thing for some people. Lots of people want to be part of music and want to take part in music, but there's quite a big jump in confidence that's needed in order to demonstrate that outside of just the bedroom environment. And that confidence comes from a little bit of building skills from projects like Wavelength. I think modern education as well is so stretched at the moment that it's very difficult for some areas to provide that very individualised education, which is what some people need. Some people do need that stepping stone at the start. Although you say everything is open to all, it's only open to all for some people if they've got the confidence to take part in it and those skills to really access it. Otherwise, it just becomes a closed door. I think that mental health issues amongst the young is a big priority in the area. The council certainly has a big push on the well-being of the people who live within the borough. I think the modern world creates pressures and distractions and an openness that exposes mental health issues more so than before. And after years of them not being particularly well funded, some of these resources are quite difficult to access for many young people. Something like Wavelength allows you a slightly different approach, because it engages them in a non-traditional way rather than the more traditional way of going to see a counsellor and things like that, which is great. However, this is a different approach. I think that mental health issues are a priority in lots of different areas. They probably become more pronounced in certain areas where we've got some deprivation in certain areas of the borough, and the high number of looked after children that we have now. These young people seem to be much more prone to these issues, and I think that statistics show that they are much more prone to that. And actually, as much help and as much engagement, especially with some kind of social network where people come together to meet to do something, to make music, can only be a great thing. I think the wider benefits of music are often missed, and I think it's a real shame where we're seeing a drop in kids taking up music GCSE, for example. Not necessarily because I think all kids should do GCSE music, but it hopefully doesn't imply that there's a drop in people engaging in music. The disciplines that you learn from doing music are one thing, but actually the social aspect of it really brings people together in a face-to-face way, whereas they may talk a lot over social media, they may talk a lot whilst they're gaming, which I certainly see for my own children, they do that a lot, but actually that ability to come together, work on a piece of music to solve problems, some of the skills that you get from that are invaluable. We know from plenty of research how music engages the brain in a way that no other form does, and that creativity that music brings about really does boost kids' prospects in later life. And I think that having access to music making and the social side of music making brings about better social cohesion. I think if we can get everybody making music in some way from a really young age, then we're probably only a generation away from solving a lot of the problems of the world, because we know full well what it can do. If we take it away from them, which seems to be what's happening at the moment, and take away those opportunities, then actually, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, really. I think as a society, we really need to go back and reinvest in the sorts of areas like making music that actually bring people together rather than drive people apart. So working with partners like Quench on the Wavelength project enables us to do stuff that we haven't been able to do, and we possibly don't have the skills within the more traditional music service. The music service is great at teaching you how to make music and play music. What it lacks skills in, mainly through historical reasons, is engaging with those people who you can't always get to. I think there's part of the National Plan for Music Education talks about inclusion, and we are actually tasked with teaching music to all people within the 5 to 18 range, yet we can have an offer that is available to all those people, but something like Wavelength actually gets us into areas where you probably wouldn't notice statistically if they weren't got to. And I think it's really important that these areas and these people aren't marginalised in any way and have the same sort of access and are able to be included in the projects as anybody. So Solihull Music Education Hub has just signed up to an inclusion strategy, deliberately a very difficult to achieve inclusion strategy, because it's really not being done as a box ticking exercise to keep the Arts Council happy. It's been done because there's a real need for us to start engaging with the people who have so far aren't approaching us. I think there's an area that we need to go out and find people who we can help. I think working with organisations like Quench, where we're working with the Wavelength project and the early years work, again, it's bringing that expertise in to enable us to access those people. But it also opens more doors. So since we've been working with Quench, we've met other organisations who we're now working with on other inclusion projects specifically aimed at looked after children. It's something we're working on at the moment. We're trying to put a project together to work with young offenders, and we're also looking at how we can meet the needs of our kids who are in our special schools and our autism referral units and our PRUs as well. And actually it's working with outside organisations like Quench which gives us the confidence to tackle these things. I think we have a moral need to help these kids in these areas and these 5 to 18 year olds. It'd be nice if we could actually help a wider age range of people as well. But we are funded we're funded by the Arts Council to get to those kids, and we can't do that without the help of external organisations because we just don't have the expertise, and nor do we always know where those kids are, and we need other organisations to point us in that direction. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the videos.